So you really come from a completely different lens. You come from a law background, and I think you have written several books on energy laws in India, and yeah, you are have a kind of great understanding of the judicial system, coming from, as I said, from law background. So I think I wanted to understand from your perspective, how do you see the role of independent electricity regulatory commissions? For example, like we have appellate tribunal in India, or maybe you can talk about what role they play, what kind of a structure, how their independence is maintained, and how their role is changing with this energy transition, because I understand the organization has been working for a long time, right? But now, and when we are talking about energy transition, how their role is changing, what are the new issues, and if you have any successful impact example that our audience from other countries can learn.
So 4 magical words are there. If you implement these 4 magical words, you can do energy transition across the world. So I will tell you best practice of India, which India is doing, implementing as of now when we are talking to each other. And the 4 magical words, first word is renewable purchase obligation. Second magical word is renewable generation obligation. Third magical word is renewable energy certificate. And fourth magical word is renewable consumption obligation. So if you understand these 4 words, and if you implement these 4 words, it will become super easy for you to move forward any country in the world. So first magical word is renewable purchase obligation. So in the year 2003, we had an act called Electricity Act 2003 in India, which provided that independent regulatory commission, Electricity Regulatory Commission, will implement renewable purchase obligation. Simply it means that any electricity distribution company or any captive power consumer or major consumers, they have to purchase certain percentage of renewable energy, compulsory, no if, no but. If it is not purchased, then there are penalties. So what happens? Energy transition becomes easier. But there was one challenge. The challenge was that, okay, all right, I am making it mandatory for the electricity distribution companies to purchase solar power, hydropower, or wind power, but somebody has to generate it. If it is no generation, then how do we, purchase renewable energy? So second magical word comes, that is renewable generation obligation. So there was a policy framework which is called National Tariff Policy, which has been amended in 2022. It provides that anybody who is generating electricity from thermal sources, he has to generate additional electricity 40% in megawatt terms from renewable energy sources, compulsory renewable energy generation. So you have that jigsaw puzzle is being solved. So first we have renewable purchase obligation implemented, announced by regulatory commission and enforced by regulatory commission. Then the second puzzle, fits in renewable generation obligation, where any thermal company or any company which is using fossil fuels to produce electricity, 40% in megawatt terms, it has to create additional generation capacity for generating renewable energy. So this puzzle is being solved. But there was another problem. The challenge was that certain states in India, they said that we don't have so much of land to produce solar energy. So how do we, fulfill the renewable purchase obligation? So then third magical words comes in, and this is called renewable energy certificate. It is like a carbon market. Okay, so we have 29 states in India. Every state has a regulatory commission, which is called, you just add the name of the state and then State Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is mandating that renewable purchase obligation, that much of electricity you have to purchase from renewable sources. And now the State Electricity Regulatory Commission says, okay, thermal power companies are also mandated to produce 40% of their megawatt capacity from renewable, so you don't have dearth. But then, if in particular state or particular region, a company is unable to get renewable energy, then no problems. We will create a carbon market, which is called renewable energy certificate. You go to the power exchanges, and in the power exchanges you can purchase the renewable energy certificates. Brilliant. So we have a power exchange in India, And anybody, if he does not, he is unable to purchase solar directly, go to power exchange and purchase renewable energy certificate. But there was another challenge. So the challenge was that India is a federal country. So there are two sets of government. One is central government and one is state government. And every state has a state electricity regulatory commission. All right. So what happens when you change the state, the renewable purchase obligation changes. Every state will have their own 29 renewable purchase obligation. And some states, maybe regulatory commissions are very lax. They will say, okay, we will maybe implement it later on, or maybe lower level. So in 2022, Government of India, they amended Energy Conservation Act, Second Act. And what they said, we will have unified target. And there comes the fourth pillar or fourth magical word, which is called renewable consumption obligation. Now net is wider. Earlier it was renewable purchase obligation only for electricity companies. Now it is renewable consumption obligation which is applicable to every company. So now Government of India mandated, and it has issued notification also. It says by 2030 in staggered manner, every year it will rise, and by 2030 you will have 43.33%. Whatever consumption you are doing, it has to be from renewable sources of energy. Whatever feedstock you are feeding in your company or DISCOM, or whatever energy electricity distribution company is purchasing, 43.33% has to be renewable energy. So if you understand these four magical words, you can implement it anywhere across the world. If it is little complex, don't worry. Our foundation has created a free resource. So we have a YouTube channel which is free for everyone. It is called Energy Dialogue with Raj Singh Niranjan. So if you go to Energy Dialogue with Raj Singh Niranjan, it is free, all the channels, because these are all complex issues. So you can understand one by one all the issues. Now, independent regulatory commissions, the state electricity regulator, but then for all these measures, whether it is renewable purchase obligation, whether it is renewable energy certificate, whether it is renewable consumption obligation, they are enforced by state electricity regulatory commission, local enforcement. So it becomes super easy, brilliant exercise India has done, and this is work in progress. So thank you for inviting me. Maybe you can continue the dialogue.
So thank you, Raj, for sharing this, the four magical words. I think that has been very helpful. I'm sure the audience will, understand this kind of the puzzle that you talked about, and how like these pieces, individual pieces are really critical in terms of achieving this energy transition.